or measures relating to disease occurrence to the size of population. So, paano ninyo makakompute yung sa size of the population dito? We can use ratio. Again, yung ratio natin, i-divide lang natin yung numerator from the denominator. So, dito, obtain by dividing one quantity by another without implying relationship between the numerator and the denominator. And the types of ratio are proportion, percentage, and rate. Actually, for proportion, i-multiply mo lang yan for 100, makukuha mo na yung percentage. Okay? Okay, so, dito class, unahin natin si proportion. So, dito, this is a type of ratio in which those who are included in the numerator are also included in the denominator. So, dito class, if mapapansin niyo dito sa isipin natin, ito yung numerator, letter A, while dito naman sa baba is the denominator natin, A plus B. So, yan natin makukuha kung ilan yung mga sample size na pwede natin gamitin in a population. And like I said, if you want to express it as part of a whole, i-multiply mo yan siya sa 100, magiging percentage na yan siya. While for the rate, it is a ratio in which there is a distinct relationship between the numerator and the denominator. So easily or essentially, a measure of time in an appropriate or an important part of the denominator. So dito sa rate, titignan natin hanggang kailan ba siya. So let's say for example, ang total population is 5,000. Yan, 5,000. Tapos yung time natin kay 5 years also. So at least dito, malalaman na natin yung population sa taas, 5,000. Sa baba is for the span of 5 years. Kung ilan yung nangyayari. Okay? So to quantify how often disease occurs in a population that is given, measures of occurrence yung natin, i-classify. So first, the types natin yung incidence as well as the prevalence. And like I said sa previous discussion natin, pag sinabi natin incidence, so dito, incidence proportion and incident rate. Pag incidence, number of new cases. But pag prevalence naman, number of existing cases na siya. So, dyan nyo palang malalaman kung ano ba yung i-measure mo. Yung mga new cases ba? Or yung mga existing cases yung i-measure. And aside from that, meron tayo ditong types of population. The closed population, which is also called as cohorts, where the population gain new members after it is established, loses due to death, or if the members are no longer at risk of becoming a case. So begin with certain number, then goes down through time. So dito sa closed population, let's say for example, lahat ng BMLS 2E are included in the study. And all of us here are at risk of developing the disease. Ibig sabihin, let's say for example, sa COVID, si COVID na lang kasi siya yung maraming ginagawa na study last time na 2020, then hindi 2020 na marami, anong tawag natin? Kalimutan ko ba? Anong tawag natin dun sa mga nag-survey kung sa ka kung second line pa ka, or anong tawag natin dun? Nakalimutan ko yun ako. Dun sa COVID, baka nang during COVID, good. Ha? Aside sa patong frontliners na nag-survey, ano sa'yo tawag natin? Contact tracer, tama ganyan. Okay? Contact tracer, tama ganyan. Kanang mga contact tracer, good guys. Diyan natin malalaman. Let's say for example, may COVID tayo. Lahat tayo at risk of developing COVID. So yung mga contact tracer ngayon, sila yung nag-survey. Nag-survey sila. Unsa ka? Either ikaw ba yung first, second line, third line, ganun kaya yan sila. Kung positive ka, tanan na dapat din mo first line sila, tanan lang yung third line. Parang ganun kaya yung nangyari. So dito sa closed population, let's say for example, tayong lahat kay at risk na, parang may signs and symptoms na may COVID na. So tayo sa closed population, hindi pwede tayong dagdagan. Kung ilan lang yung number ng 2E, let's say for example, 38 lang kayo. So hindi pwedeng dagdagan ang 38 as part of the study. Dapat yung 38 lang yung i-observe natin. And through time, titignan natin sa 38 na yan, anong mangyayari sa kanila. So whether yung iba gagaling, so ibig sabihin, they are no longer part of the study kasi magaling na sila, o yung iba namatay na. Kasi nga, hindi nila nakaya yung study, so hindi na sila part. So close population niya siya. So through time, bumababa yung number of participants nila. So that is an example of a closed population. Pero sa open population naman, the population adds new member through birth and immigration and lose through death and emigration. So dito puro migration yung sinasabi. Pag I, papasok. Pag I, palabas. Yun lang yung difference between the, ano tawag ito, from the word. So, migration pa rin. Again, papasok sa isang country or lalabas sa isang country. Let's say, for example, sa Philippines. Alam niyo ba yung population ng Philippines ngayon? Hindi ko na alam. Ano population ng Philippines? Ilang million or million pa lang na? Ilang million na yung tao sa Pilipinas? So, let's say, for example, ang tao sa Pilipinas kay naano sa 40 million. Let's say, for example, lang 40 million na ang tao sa Philippines. In an open population, madadagdagan tayo dito sa Philippines if ever merong mag-immigrate dito sa atin. Ibig sabihin, from other country, gusto nilang tumira na dito sa Philippines. So, immigration na siya. Or, doon sa mga bata, kasi pag mag-warding kayo sa OB sa hospital, OB ward sa hospital, lalong-lalo na sa delivery room, everyday, kahit mag-ward ka dyan, everyday may nanganganak. Hindi ko alam, hindi natatapos yung delivery room class. Everyday talaga yan. Isang hospital lang yun. How about other hospital, okay? Kahit na kayo nagtambay ko sa Bro, tagang na hospital ako mama, tapos sa ICU is delivery room. Everyday, na-enjoy mga bata na nag-anak. So, ibig sabihin, everyday, nagataas ang population sa Pilipinas. So, ibig sabihin, part yan siya, parang similar with the open population. So, dito, through time, population may grow, remain the same, or decrease depending on the rate of person inflow and outflow. Depende yan siya kasi kahit pa sabihin natin marami yung pinapanganak everyday, marami din naman yung umaalis. Bakit nag-aabot sila or mas nagmamigrate sila sa other country din? Kasi nga mahirap na dito sa Philippines. Okay? So dito tayo measures of incidence. So measures of incidence is a number of new cases that develop in a population at risk during specified time interval. So let's say for example yung incident rate natin. So incident rate, number of new cases during is equal to the number of new cases during that period divided by total person time at risk. Again, yung formula natin na hindi ko na pala yung ano. Incidence, yung formula niya is equal to or incident rate equal to the number of new cases during a period divided by total person time at risk. So, meaning, yung new cases na sinasabi dito, only those individuals who develop the disease during the follow-up period. So, let's say for example, tayo lahat dito, wala pang sakit. Pero pag follow-up ngayon, as part of the study, sino yung nagkasakit dyan sa population na yan? Yan yung cases natin, or new cases. While the person time at risk naman is the sum of the time each person was followed and at risk of developing the disease. So let's say for example, a cohort of 100 people is followed over 1 year. Again, 100 people followed for 1 year. Ngayon, during the study, 5 developed the disease. So, the total person time is equal to 95 person minus the years. Because 5 developed the disease halfway through, so they contribute only half a year each na lang siya. So, 5 divided by 95 equals 2 pilaman. If they divide natin, 5 divided by 95 equals to 0.0526 or per person year yan siya. So, ang example natin dito, this means that 5.26 new cases occur per 100 person years per year yan siya in 1 year. Again, in 100 person, in 1 year, merong up to 5.26 new cases yung nangyayari. Kasi nga, in 100 people, 5 lang man ang na-develop ng disease. So, yan yung parang ano natin na, paano nakukuha ng mga data or yung mga percentage ng mga new cases. Depende yan siya sa number of population na gina-observe nila. Lalong-lalo na dun sa mga intensity of infection. Let's say, for example, sa parasites, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na low, moderate, or heavy ang intensity ng infection if hindi mo alam kung ilan yung number of population na dinameasure. Okay? So, dito, basic formulation of incident measure. So, incidence is a measure of events transition from a non-disease state to a disease state. So, that can be measure of risk yan siya. While yung denominator natin, individuals who is or are included in the denominator must have the potential to become part of the group that is counted in the numerator. So, ibig sabihin, dito sa denominator natin, hindi ibig sabihin na mag-develop siya ng sakit. May possibility lang siya na mag-develop ng disease na included in our numerator. So, in identifying new cases, so dito numerator, so measures of events transition from disease state, thus can be measured of risk na yan siya. So, monitor an entire population over time with tests that can detect newly developed cases of a disease. So, dito class yung mga, in the monitoring process natin, dapat marami tayong mga parang criteria or mga laboratory procedures na gagawin in order for us to know if nag-develop pa ng sakit yung patient o hindi. Yan yung pinaka-mahirap na factors in the epidemiology kasi hindi mo alam may sakit na ba siya o wala pa. Kasi hindi mo naman nakikita yung mga signs. Again na hindi mo alam kung may sakit ba talaga siya. Yung ano natin ay signs. Signs, symptoms is nakikita? Ay hindi. So, baliktad. Hindi mo nakikita ang symptoms. Nakikita mo lang is yung signs. So, hindi mo pwedeng masabi na may sakit na siya or wala pa siyang sakit without the laboratory procedure o yung mga criteria for you to diagnose that patient. Okay? So, dito, population is identified and evaluated for the disease at baseline. So, those who do not have the disease at the baseline are followed a specific time, then re-evaluate to determine if they have developed the disease of interest. Let's say, for example, sa diabetes naman. So, lagi, pag masasabi mo na may diabetes ka, pag mag-reach mo na yung 26 mg per dl. Again, 126 mg per dl. So, let's say, for example, yung baseline mo ngayon, yung blood sugar mo is nasa 110 ka pa. So, nasa baseline. Lahat tayo 110. So, through time, titingnan namin kung 110 pa rin ba yung sugar mo. Kasi pag once mag-test ko, mag-re-evaluate ko after, what if niabot na siya o 126, then pwede ko nang sabihin na meron kang diabetes. Kasi yan yung baseline natin. Pag ma-reach mo yung 126, diabetes ka kaagad. So, ngayon tayo, ano tayo, yung age natin ngayon, nasa type 1, type 2 diabetes na tayo. Ang type 1 is juvenile, type 2 ang adult. So, ano tayo? Type 1, type 2. Type 2 na. Okay, ang type 1 yung mga bata talaga, plus yung mga teenager, yung nasa, ano pa yan siya, na 15 below. Yan sila, mga type 1 ba. Pero 16 and above, type 2 na tayo na diabetes. Pag ngayon ka nag-develop, pero since bata ka pa, tapos tumanda ka na, type 1 pa rin. Kasi nag-start ka man ng bata ka pa. So, sino yung kilala ninyo na sikat na artista na may type 1 diabetes? Si Mona, wow. Hindi. Sino pa? Isa pa. Type 1. Pinakasikat din. Singer, dancer. Si si Gary V. Okay, type 1 din yan sila. So, yan sila, class, mga type 1. So, ma'am, sabi mo, doon kay type 2, kasi bata type 1. Kasi yan sila, since bata pa, may diabetes na sila. Kaso control until na tumanda. So, type 1 diabetes yung meron sa kanila. So, again, class ha, ang gagawin yan, titingnan, hindi ibig sabihin na negative ka or mababa yung level ng disease mo sa first, hindi ka na included. Kailangan pa i-re-evaluate to determine talaga if nag-develop ka ba ng disease o hindi. Okay? So next, dito tayo sa denominator naman, individual who are at risk and who was at risk and now acquired the disease state. So dito class, people at risk who are observed throughout the defined time. So individual in the group represented by the denominators must be followed up for the specified followed up period. So dito, under close population, ito sila. So ibig sabihin, dapat wag mong dadagdagan kung sino lang yung individual na included in that study, sila lang talaga yung i-observe mo. And when all people are not observed for the full time period, person time is used in the denominator. So dito, consists of the sum of units of time that each individual was at risk and was observed. So either, sabi nga kanina, individuals who are at risk, who was at risk, and now acquired the disease state natin. So dito, may formula yung incident proportion or the proportion of individuals who become disease during the specified period time. So number of cases of disease during a given period of time divided by the total population at risk. So dito, we assume that the entire population is at risk at the beginning of the study and a study period that was followed over a specified time interval for the development of outcome under investigation. While for the incident rate, dito, number of, ang difference lang ng incidence proportion is total population at risk yung denominator. While sa incident rate naman is the total person type of observation yung kinukuha natin dito. So represent the speed or intensity at which population are expected to generate new cases natin. So ito na yung sinasabi ko last time na let's say for example, may parasitic infection na involvement na prevalence kayo. Ma'am, prevalence of soil-transmitted ailments. So wow, soil-transmitted ailments yung ina-study na ninyo. Just after the study, may na-observe kayo na schistosoma. And again, schistosoma is not a soil-transmitted ailment. Kasi ano yung schistosoma? Ang ano niyan kaso, parang gina-prepare ko na kayo pang second sem para natin. Schistosoma is, ang mode of transmission niya is skin penetration. So, nasa water yan siya, tapos magpipenetrate yan siya sa skin niyo. So, ibig sabihin, yung study mo lang dapat, yung focus ng study mo is for the STH lang. Soil transmitted ailments lang dapat. Pero, after which, naka-observe ka man ng schistosoma. So, yung schistosoma, yun yung magiging new cases mo. New cases yan kasi nga expected dapat wala siya dyan. Pero positive man. So, new case yung ilalagay natin. Okay? So, kanina nag-mention tayo ng person time. So, ano itong person time? It is an amount of time a person is observed during the study and is counted only when a person is at risk of being detected as a case. So again, yung person time is not counted after the person developed the disease under his investigation, the person withdraws from the study, or the study ends. So again, class, meron tayong ano dyan na, when lang pala tayo mag-aaral, ma'am, depende sa criteria mo kung pang 6 months ka ba, pang 3 months ka ba, or 1 week lang. Depende yan siya kung ano yung gagawin. Okay? Next, person time. So if the individual person time is known, sum of each individual's time at risk or time each person remain under observation and free from the disease. But if the person time is not known, total person time equals to the average population size times length of follow-up period. While average population naman is the population at start plus population at the end divided by 2 natin. So ito yung parang ways natin to compute the total person time if the person time is not known. Okay? While for the prevalence, so dito the prevalence natin quantifies the proportion of individuals in a population who have the distance of specified time. So dito yung formula natin for point prevalence naman. So sabi dito, snapshot to the population at a point in time to determine who has the disease and who does not. So dito, yung point prevalence equals to the number of existing cases at a specific point in time over total population at the same time. Again, prevalence, number of existing cases of the disease divided by total population. So, dito class, existing cases or people who already have the disease at the time of measurement. Ibig sabihin, kanina sa incidence, tinitingnan mo pa sino yung mag-develop ng sakit. Dito sa prevalence, may sakit na siya daan. And titingnan mo lang if period of prevalence natin dito is everyone or the population, kay everyone in the group studied include both cases and non-cases, and the period of prevalence includes new cases while point prevalence does not din siya. So let's say for example sa point prevalence natin. On January 1, there are 50 people with asthma in a town of 5,000. Okay? In January 1, there are 50 people with asthma in the town of 5,000. So how will you compute the point prevalence? So number of existing cases, 50. Yung total, total population is 5,000. So 50 divided by 1,000 times 100. So answer is 0.01 or 1% yan siya. Pero, yung natin, sa period prevalence naman, over 1 year, 50 people already had asthma, plus 20 new cases in the population of 5,000. So again, yung last time daw, may 50 na daan. Tapos nadagdagan ng 20. So dito, sa number of existing cases, ilan na? So, 70 na siya, divided by 5,000 times 100. So, pila man? 70 divided by 1,000 is 0.0. Ay, 5,000, not 1,000, sorry. 50 lang, 50. 70. Ha? 0.014. So times 100, that is for 1.4%. Okay, again, 1.4% PLC. Okay? So again, guys, yun yung sa point prevalence, sino yung may existing cases in that particular point in time, while sa period prevalence, sino yung kasali i-add mo yung previously na positive plus ngayon sa new cases natin. Okay? So again, point in time is a specific point in the calendar wherein there is a fixed point in the course of events that varies in real person to person. So again, class, each of us has a different person time. So let's say for example, the onset of menopause. So yung mga mama natin, ang menopause nila, hindi natin alam, may mga mama na nag-menopause as early as 40, may iba na 50, or late na talaga na 60. Pero mostly sa kanila, nasa 50 to 55, mga early menopause na yan siya. Pero yung pinaka-early talaga is yung 40. Kasi meron na yun siya na nag-menopause na at 40. Pero dito sa menarche, what do you mean menarche? Menarche. Kung menopause is pag-stop ng menstruation ng mga babae, ang menarche is the start of menstruation naman. So, iba-iba tayo yung start of menstruation. So, yung iba may iba grade 6, yung iba first year high school. Ilang taon ba yung grade 6? 11. So, nasa 11. So, yan yung pinaka-ideal. 11 to 13. Pero yung iba, early at the age of 9, may nag-menarche na yan sila. Or at the late naman yung iba at the 16, saka pa lang sila dugo kaya siya. So yung ating kapitbahay niya namin kay, ano siya, doon pa lang namin malaman na nung pag-check up siya yakay, siya yung typical bakla na pinanganak. Bakit bakla class? Babae yung sex organ niya, wala lang siyang, hindi lang malaki, dibdib lang talaga siya class. Hindi lumalaki yung, yung boobs niya, hindi lumalaki. Pero yung sex organ niya, pambabae. But upon doctor's observation, yung organ niya pala doon, hindi siya nag-release ng estrogen. Mas maraming testosterone yung nire-release niya comparing to the estrogen. So anong mangyayari sa kanya? Hindi siya ginadugo, wala din siyang Adam's apple, pero wala din siyang stress. So until now, wala talaga. So yan yung cases na 1 out of 1 million people, may mga people na ganyan. Yung typical bakla na pinanganak. Kasi dapat daw, lalaki yan siya. Pero naging babae, pero wala na totally babae yan ang Kasi yung natin, lahat kasi daw lalaki na pinanganak, lahat ay, fetus ka pala, lalaki ka na. So, depende na lang yan if either magiging babae ka or purely magiging lalaki ka na. Okay? So, yun na. Okay? Next. Sa quantifies the proportion of individuals. So, dito, point in time. So, dito class, the relationship between prevalence and incidence. So, assumptions natin, incidence of the disease is constant over time, while the duration of the disease is constant over time, and prevalence of the disease is low, less than 10%. So, dito class, prevalence equals to incident rate times average duration of the disease. Again, prevalence equals to the incident rate times the average duration of the disease. Okay? So, prevalence measures, so an important and useful measure to the burden of the disease in a community. While yung prevalence data natin may be suggested, if not confirmatory, of the etiology of the certain diseases natin. Kasi dito natin malalaman na if increasing pa rin yung number of cases, pwede nyo nang isabihin dyan na dito na lugar na yan, may mga existing cases po dyan. Let's say for example sa malaria, saan yung endemic yung malaria? Saan endemic? Sa Palawan. Yun yung alam niyo sa Palawan. Dito sa Mindanao, saan endemic ang malaria? Wala sa Tagum. Wala. Saan? Sa sinong taga-Sultan Kudarat? Yun. Sa Sultan Kudarat at endemic yung malaria dyan. Kasi may mga dyan, may mga barangay dyan. Hindi ko sinasabi ko Sultan Kudarat. Ako Sultan Kudarat ka sa. Ako kayo Sultan Kudarat. So may part dyan. May isang barangay yan dyan na may endemic. Ibig sabihin, hindi nila mawala-wala yung malaria dyan. And aside from that, sinong taga-Sulong? Again, sa Sulong, yung natin Plasmodium littoralis, yun din, dito sa Mindanao. So yung tatlo na lang yung mahirap daw, mahirap itanggalon ng mga malaria. Bakit? Kasi may mga lamok na gusto nila flowing yung water, may lamok na gusto nila na stagnant yung water, may lamok na gusto nila shaded yung environment, may lamok din na gusto nila exposed to the environment. So, anong gagawin mo? Sabi mo, uy, hindi dapat stagnant kay magtapok panatitikitaan na magkakaroon. May lamok ba na gusto ng flow? Sabi niya, libre ang mga libre ang mga bukal o tanggalan kay para ang mga lamok magawas, mga matay. Dili po, may lamok ba na gusto nila na mas expose sila sa sunlight. Kaya yan yung problem nila, depending on the species siya. So, basahin nyo lang yung, basahin nyo lang yung sa book may blizzard, nandun yun sila ng mga. If na-prepare na kayo for your parasitology. Okay? Okay, next natin. So, so considerations in computing measures of disease frequency. So, how is the measure defined and calculated? So, dito gagamit tayo ng rates. Ratios and proportions are not interchangeable. And what's constitute the numerator and the denominator are cases, affected individuals, and population considered natin. So, what are those problems na ma-encounter natin with the numerator? So, dito, defining mucus na disease. So, a prevalence estimate is affected significantly by the criteria being used. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na you cannot check if may symptoms yung patient. So, ibig sabihin, mahihirapan ka mag-identify kung nag-develop na ba siya. So, pag hindi mo maagad ma-identify, mali na person time yung mare-record mo kasi late mo na na-identify na may sakit na pala siya. Okay, and aside from that, ascertaining which person should be included in the numerator. While the problems in the denominator naman, there is selective undercounting of groups in the population and non-correspondence of the population in the denominator with the population in the numerator. Ito yung mahirap sa survey study. Kaya yung mga third year ngayon na nag-survey study sa research nila, ito yung pinakamahirap para challenging na part sa survey. Kasi nga, let's say for example, mag-start ka ng 150. Tapos sa 150 mo, yun yung included sa numerator mo kasi sila man yung start ng study mo. But upon collection of data, may mga participants sa study na hindi nag-answer properly sa questionnaire. So parang may part sa questionnaire na ginalib lang nila or hindi nila maintindihan ng question so hindi sila sumasagot. So ngayon, pag submit ng paper, pag-cut mo ng paper, hindi na sila match. So parang 150 sa start, after which ang nag-answer niya lang kay ani na item kay lang, 130 lang. So nakulang 20, so asa ang 20? So yun yung parang problems nila in the denominator kasi hindi nagmamatch yung number of participants sa study within the numerator. So kaya nga kung kanta kayo ng survey na study, ang ginagawa talaga is una yun dun ninyo parang hindi siya pwede na itatatanong niya papel pa-answer ko. Dapat i-guide nyo talaga na makita ninyo na na-answer dun ninyo. Hindi kayo basta ihatag lang. Let's say ngayon, usong-uso yung Google Forms, diba? Iba kasi ka-ENA lang nila yan. Hindi na nila answer at submit diretso. So, mahirap yan. Unlike kung i-guide mo talaga na paki-answer. Kung hindi siya kasabot, at least naaka na pwede pa mo talaga Google Forms. Okay? So, yun lang class for the epidemiology part 2. So, question. Before we proceed. Question? Wala? Nasabtan? So, more on dahil dito yung prevalence of incidence, the rate, or yung mga ratio proportion natin yung